Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do something a little different today. We try to keep these usually pretty concise, but we have a white paper to go through today, and I think it'll be useful for everybody. And we'll actually send you the white paper after the webinar. And obviously, please provide any feedback. We'll do some questions at the end. But basically, the webinar today is about the strategic AI maturity model and really how to drive value. And when the white paper gives you a model and a roadmap for how to do that. I'll quickly go through the sections, and then toward the end, I'll jump in and show you examples from the software side as well. But basically, it has an executive summary, and then it goes through what the AI maturity model is. This is a way to think about where you and your company are in the process. That's what part one is. Part two is the framework that really we've seen at most of our customers is the framework to really derive value. Wherever you're going to start, you're really going to use this framework, and it's access, analyze, and act framework, and we'll get into the details around that. And then finally, as you begin implementation, what are the value drivers of implementation? How do you actually get something done? And then there's a short conclusion section. So that's really what we're going to cover today. And then I'll summarize it all at the end and show you some examples along the way as well. But this one will probably take a little bit longer than normal, but hopefully we'll get it all knocked out in the 25 minutes or so we have left. So the executive summary goes through what I talked about, the foundational systems of getting your foundation put together, digitizing your operations, and then really being able to take advantage of AI orchestration at a broad base. I won't obviously read all this stuff, but you'll get this after, and hopefully you'll find lots of value in it. There's some crazy stats here that, I think everybody realizes this, that the enterprise is going to have a huge amount of value created. But despite the potential here, many organizations really don't have a system. And so that's really what this is all about. It starts with the strategic AI maturity model. So understanding the stages, 80% of AI projects fail, and this has to do a lot with lack of methodology, lack of skills, and the data problems involved in it. And we'll go through that. The first stage, the foundational stage, is really where I think a lot of companies are today, or maybe a lot of companies are even pre this stage. And really what it comes down to is that the characteristics of that are listed down here at the bottom. You have some core you have non-core AI systems in place. You've got your ERPs, you've got your MES systems, or your CRM systems if you're more on the sales and marketing side. So you've got that in place. And you also have a massive amount of multi-source ad hoc data in place with lots of Excel sheets and other kinds of processes. This is really where lots of folks are. If there's AI usage going on, most of it is us using ChatGPT and Anthropic, et cetera, for daily work. It's primarily the individual workers who are getting the value today out of AI. There might be some sort of data science experiments going on here or there, and the value of AI in your organization is going primarily to workers. And it's really important because what that means is that if I'm a marketing person, I can get my job done in half the time using Anthropic to help me, Claude to help me write and all those types of things. So the value is actually going to the worker, not to the employer or the enterprise. And so that's at an enterprise level. We call this the foundational level of where, and I would say probably 80, 90% of companies are at this place right now. The next one is where you start to digitize operations. So you not only need to get your data from your existing systems like your ERPs and your CRMs and your maintenance systems, et cetera, but you need to digitize the other aspects of your processes. So, and I'll show you that as we get into the implementation. But all of the paper and Excel-based and ad hoc-based processes need to come into the digital realm, or you can't really use AI with them effectively. So this stage is characterized by, your ad hoc processes being digitized. So you get out of Excel and paper and all those types of things. You have a consistent data strategy, and that means whether that's structured data, ad hoc data, digitized data, whether it's coming through new digitized apps or through databases, that you have an overall strategy of how you're going to manage that and maintain it. Usage of AI starts to be coordinated across departments. You end up starting to have an AI strategy, and basic ROI and value are starting to be measured. So this is a mid-level stage where you're actually implementing AI in different areas of your business, not just having the science experiments where a particular department is implementing it, but that multiple departments are starting to coordinate, and you're starting to really develop a strategy overall. And the third is AI orchestration. At this stage, you're really getting the value, you're orchestrating consistently across. And I would say very few companies are at this stage yet, but this is the ultimate way to get value out of this stage. where your AI is automating not only human it doing automation, which I'll show you, but has human in the loop processes to review that data. You're doing systematic structured and unstructured integration of all the data in your system. You have universal analysis, action, and automation. And one of the themes you'll hear in this is that getting insight is kind of a 1990s BI kind of way to look at what AI does. AI is not about getting insight specifically, although it does an amazing job of doing that. It's really about turning that into actionable, executable actions that your team can track and really improve processes. And the value at this stage really becomes organizational wide, and you can track it. So that's really the three levels here: the foundational systems, where you're the baby AI; the AI digitized operations, where you're, you know, a young person, effectively a young robot here; and then finally where you're a complete superhero AI company. And these are the three stages. So keep those stages in mind as you're analyzing where you are and what you can actually do to take the next steps. And there's a little summary page in here for you. So the next part is the AI-powered automation framework. Once you define where you are, what is the framework that works to help you actually take and get value from AI in your own organizations? So this stat jumped out at me: 70% of any of these projects is spent on data preparation. So this is a huge problem in this access, analyze, act pattern that we're going to show you. We have some really great technologies on this, but the more you can reduce this, the faster you can get to a rapid ROI on your AI projects. So the first element is access. It's breaking down the information barriers. So unifying your data integration strategies, getting real-time context information. And we'll talk about this later, what context is. So I'll show you in an example that New York City and the Big Apple are the same thing. We know that because we're humans. We know people call New York City the Big Apple, NYC, and New York City. That's context that AI can provide to your data, et cetera. So that's a critical part of AI management of data systems. The other one is the schemaless ingest down here. We have a technology that allows us to not do normal data science, and I'll show you that, and really accelerates the data ingest process for getting at data. But whether you're getting data from your existing systems, whether those be, you know, as I mentioned, your ERP systems or others, or other databases, the other massive amount of data, and I would say 30 to 50% of the data in organizations, is ad hoc, unstructured data. So digitizing those applications, which we'll talk about later, is really a key to acquiring and accessing that data. Secondly, analyzing the data. So this is really interesting. A lot of people I talk to about AI don't know these basic components that are really part of a structured AI methodology. So it's intelligent grouping. So AI is really good at this. If you have call center calls coming in, or your machines are going down in your manufacturing plant, there are groups of reasons that that's happening. So if all of the calls coming into the call center, there's probably 3 or 5 main categories of calls, and the AI can very rapidly group those calls. Then it can triage those calls in what we call strategic prioritization. So it can say which ones are the most critical. That's true of machine downtime. It's true of issues in production. It's true of call centers. It's true of deals in a sales funnel. So it can group the different types of records. It can strategically prioritize which ones should be looked at first. It then also can do root cause analysis of what the main issues are causing that, based on your industry, the role you have, and the data you've given it. In fact, what's amazing about AI is it will actually tell you questions you should be asking based on your role and the information in your industry, not answer the questions only that you're asking. So it's quite powerful in that. And then it will also give you implementation suggestions and capabilities on how to go about that, which we'll cover in the next slide. So that's the analyze phase, it really gathering that information, grouping it, prioritizing, root cause analysis of the issues going on in the data. And then the most important part, which again, I'm going to harp on a little bit here, is the ability to take action. You know, the old BI systems would say, hey, there's a problem in this area of your business. And then somebody has to take down a note, and then we got to track it. And like, it's not about action in the older systems. In the newer systems, it's all about automation and human in the loop action taking and management. So the AI will give you suggestions on what actions you can take. This is hugely powerful based on your industry, based on your role, based on the data you provided. The AI can do that. In addition, it can look at all of the data that's been entered in the system and fixes and problems that people have entered into your ticketing system. And you can use all of that data to also give you suggestions. And then it will help you do implementation planning, et cetera, so that you can execute that in your command centers. And I'll show you an example of that at the end here. Okay, so that's the 3A access, analyze, act pattern. And effectively here, there's some strategic impact. Instead of teams working, they get complete information instead of partial views. And there's great quotes in here that you can see. Insights emerge from comprehensive cross-stack context. So that's really important because the information isn't just in your ERP. If you're doing, let's say, cost of quality, well, it's your scrap data, it's your returns data, it's your ERP sales data. There's multiple data sets involved in that. And the context from across the stack is incredibly important in finding that. You also, as I mentioned, actions align with organizational goals and execution success. So all of the AI can help you generate these action plans as well that really align with everything you're trying to do in the business and the core strategic goals. And then every solution is strengthened by intelligence foundation. That means, as I said, as you implement more and more of these solutions, you get better and better capability to rapidly diagnose and supply solutions to those problems. So that's the strategic impact of the access, analyze, act pattern that can be applied to any problem in your business. Next, we'll go on to part 3. I just love this AI-generated hummingbird. I think it's beautiful. Anyway, 5 value drivers to successful implementations, like building beautiful things like that. So the first part is process mapping, but let's go on to a beautiful slide here. Companies use consistent methodologies are 3 times more likely to be able to scale their AI. Hugely important. So not just running around and doing science experiments and letting everybody do their own thing, really coming up with a methodology that everybody understands and that you can scale value with quite rapidly. So here are the 5 capabilities in a single slide that you'll get in the document when you get it. But it's process mapping, labor automation, digitizing of applications to get the data in the system, accessing the data, then doing all the analysis and getting you your execution capabilities. So let's start with process mapping. So basically, I was going to with these, just give you an examples of these types of things. So we've all done process mapping. We actually have some AI-powered tools that are coming online here that help with this as well. And you basically design the process as well as where the AI is going to be and what the outcomes need to be. So that's a core standard process of getting an AI project moving forward. And we have tools for it, and there are lots of tools on the market that can help with that. The second one is labor automation. Now, this used to be done quite, there are companies that this is all they do, robotic process automation. And I'm going to jump in and show you an example of this in our system. And what it does here is I'm going to grab a document out of a test file here. And the document in here is a PDF, and it's an order. So imagine an order comes into your system, and that order then can either be emailed or dropped into a file based on however your workflow works for getting an order. When this file comes in, I'm going to copy that file. Give me 1 second. And then I'm going to drop it into a folder that Praxie is monitoring. And in this case, we're using an integration tool called Zapier, if you're not familiar with it, which monitors the system and runs what's called a webhook. And what you see here on the left is the digital system inside Praxie, which is going to read that PDF. You see it's generated the record here. And if I go back to the PDF, you'll see the fields in that record. Did I close it? I did close it. Let me go back here and open it. Now the AI has received the file and it's generated the record. And what it's going to do now is it's going to look at all of the data in the record and turn that into a Praxie record. Now this can take 30 to 40 seconds, but you can see it's doing it now. And it captures all of the information from the PDF as it's coming in, and any type of document based, if you get an email with that same thing, the same process will work. So you can get rid of massive amounts of human manual data entry labor processes built into workflows that will provide an incredible opportunity for process automation for your organization. So that's what labor automations and process automations do. We can do that across lots of different types of documents, et cetera, and get that digital. We can pump that right into your ERP system, all those types of things. So this sort of labor automation is a core, whether you use Praxie or other solutions, is a core capability in delivering value for your AI projects. So digitized applications. So if you're running Excel sheets today for your innovation, or you're running Excel for quality audits, or any of those types of things, I'll jump in here and show you some examples. So a simple example, I think, yeah, we've got a simple audit here. So you can jump in, and instead of doing this audit on a piece of paper or an Excel sheet, there's actually a beautiful safety audit application. That application, you can add new audits, in this case, safety audits. And those safety audits have all the information. You just click in here. If you're on an iPad, you can talk to it. The AI will analyze this. I'll show you more of that later, and empower you to do much more with your processes. But first, you've got to get it digital. So really, that's what this is about. It's about digitizing your applications. I guess while I'm here, I'll jump in and show you the how AI can add power to this. So this is another very simple sort of walk around type of application. It's called a Gemba walk. And what you do in these kinds of walks is you gather up, you're trying to look for waste or doing audit problems, et cetera. As again, this is a slightly different form, but you digitize the form and you enter the information with your iPad. You can take images and pictures of what's going on. Now, what's amazing about having the AI capability inside the system is the AI can help this connected worker who's doing this job. If he clicks this button, it generates a summary of all of the information that was gathered up here and emails that out to all the relevant team members. Then the AI takes all that information, the summary, the pictures, and it generates best practice suggestions of what to do about the issues that were found on that audit. So now the AI is helping you, based on your industry, et cetera, really drive value around what you can do and help your connected worker with their own skill sets. And finally, you can edit this, and then AI will jump in and generate a project plan for you to go do that. And this again is critical. Now you have people you're assigning work to, you're getting going, and the entire process is now full loop, and you can track all the actions in your Gemba walks in one place up here. And you now have a digitized AI-powered workflow that will help you drive continuous improvement much, much faster. So that's the point of digitization of any of these processes. You've got to get the data digital, but then you can add AI capability into those processes as well. The next one is AI analytics automation. So taking it out of the realm of the connected worker doing the line jobs or other types of jobs like that, you can take and run analytics on all of your data. This is that cross-stack information I was talking about. So in this case, oh, this is a good one I forgot to mention here. This is about normalizing data in a schemaless ingest. So in this case, if I download this file, you'll see it'll pop up here. There we go. And you can see that in the data itself, here it comes. The data shows that the differences between, I mentioned this, New York City, NYC, the Big Apple, et cetera. Now, in a normal data cleansing model, these all have to be turned into one of them, whichever one you're going to use. But in the case of Praxie, what's terrific about our system is that because of the AI is built into the NoSQL indexing system, the system recognizes them all as New York City. Now, in this case, it actually cleaned the file using this AI button here. But you cannot clean it and leave the data as is, but just understand that it is all New York City. So that's one incredibly powerful aspect of schemaless ingest. So you can look across multiple data sets. In this case, we're looking at data coming in from multiple systems around downtime data of machines on a manufacturing floor. This could be multiple systems of supply chain. It could be multiple databases around customer support, et cetera. It really doesn't matter. The AI understands the context and the role that this data is being used in. Now, in this case, I'm showing files, but we have SQL connecting and other connectors that connect to really any type of enterprise solution you want. So now that the AI understands the data and has brought it in, it then summarizes the data into this is that AAA process I was talking about. It summarizes the data. It's acquired it. It's now accessed it. Now it's doing the analysis. So it gives you your major downtime categories here and what the key findings are, which areas, et cetera. It then creates and suggests the root causes of these based on your industry, based on best practices, based on your own data, and will generate the root cause and Pareto charts for you to look at. It'll also then suggest other solutions that you might find valuable in driving action so that you can take those actions on. And it'll even generate your action plan, et cetera, as I showed before. So this is incredibly powerful in the process of actually taking action. And ultimately, that's what you're trying to do, is take action to solve problems. and this analytics gives you the capability to understand. Now, at some level, this is just a super important and powerful business intelligence understanding of the problem. Here's where it all, becomes critically powerful, is in the execution phase. So what you want to do here is you want to take all of that capability and build a command center so that you can really execute against all of the issues that you're looking at here. So let me jump in. I'll show you an example of a command center. And what happens here is each role in this organization, this is represented a manufacturing plant, but it could be any kind of business, has their own different responsibilities, the major challenges of that role, and what the AI-powered solutions can do to help them. Now, when you come in this role for the first of the morning, we can generate, based on AI capability, a morning action report that tells you everything that happened in the last 24 hours. You can see critical, in this case, it's OEE, which is a manufacturing metric. You can drive into OEE, you can drill down on those. You can see what production orders are queued up and what their status is. You can look at today's schedule. Each one of these roles, the plant manager, the quality manager, will have a variation of this so that you have the ability to take action and to understand what actions are being taken in any role in the company. And this is where the power of moving way beyond business intelligence, what AI can do for you in executing against your business plans. And not only can it look at Praxie data, but it can look at any type of information across your different stacks, whether that be structured or unstructured data, to get you those insights you need and the ability to execute against them. Also, in our system, we have built-in project tracking and all those types of things that as you decide to take action, you can manage that, KPIs, et cetera. So in conclusion, this is good. We've got a few more minutes left for questions. So the last thing that this white paper touches on is really culture and the human element. It talks about building the right team, evolving the entire organization to take on this challenge, and continuous learning and adapting to the AI as it improves its capabilities as well. The last thing is some considerations for getting started. As you consider your journey, assessing where you really are in your maturity level, getting digital if you're a standard, if you're digital already, really building an AI structured implementation strategy across the board, et cetera, and then creating all the human-based and cross-functional teams to make it work. If you follow this, dramatic improvements will come. And again, we'll send this out to everybody. So in conclusion, this is a strategic AI implementation framework. It starts with your maturity model at the foundational, the digitized operations, or the AI orchestration level. Use the AI-powered automation framework to actually look at the different problems that you have, accessing the data, meaning digitizing or getting at the data in your systems, analyzing the data, and then creating an action and a command center so that you can actually take advantage of all the learnings. And then the 5 drivers we talked about that are critical for actually implementing a solution. And by understanding this, you can identify the next steps. And to the next steps, if you're interested in working with us, our URL is there at the end, and we'd love to talk with you. So I'll stop there. I know that was a race, but you'll get the white paper to get through it, and hopefully you found some value to this. Any questions for the team? We try to keep these short, but just happy to answer any questions that you might have. Just put them in the chat, and we'll jump on them.
There's a question from George. Does your AI store our data?
Yeah. So let's say you're doing you've digitized an area of your business, and you got 1,000 different quality records or things like that. Not only are we looking at the internet for the types of errors that you might be finding in your quality, and finding all the best practices that exist amongst all of the companies like yours in the world, but we're looking at those 2,000 records of quality data that you've already put in, and notes that people have said, oh, this particular problem in our machining or this particular problem in our customer support is usually fixed by this. We have access to that data, and we'll bring up answers and solutions based on all of the information provided. And so the system learns on your data as well.
There's another question from Mike. How scalable solution implementations sorry, I've something blocking here. How scalable solution implementations would look based on current org maturity level?
Well, there's I'm not sure I understand the system, our system, and I'll talk generally about scalable systems. So our system is based on the newest Kubernetes containerized type of model. It's all based on the Google Cloud platform. So it's ultimately scalable. We're rolling out in 29 countries in Africa right now. So the system will scale from a very small, we have implementations, they're tiny, where if somebody's just getting started with a Gemba walk, or a huddle board system or a KPI system. And so the important thing is not how big you are. Well, the system will scale to it. The important thing is actually, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And what you want to do is look at where you are in that process. If it's digitization, getting digitized and scaling that out as fast as you can, regardless of the size of your organization, and creating a structure in which we can get at the data of those digitized applications is what's important. But it can scale, and it can scale from a tiny little organization all the way up to we have, public, large scale companies using our systems.
One more clarifying question from George. Is the AI company keeping our proprietary data?
No, so we use Google Gemini primarily, and it's because we have a relationship with them that contractually they will not use the data we send via the APIs for training. So it's much more secure than if you had put some of your data into Claude or ChatGPT, because they do use that data for training. So no, it is not used for training. It's kept inside, your encrypted containerized system inside Praxie.
Looks like that's all the questions.
All right, 2 minutes left. I'll give you guys back 2 minutes of your day. Thank you again for joining. We really appreciate it and look forward to talking with you all. Have a great day.